Hey friends, today on Gardening with Creekside, we are going to plant the first flower bed here at the chicken coop. I am so stinking excited. We have not moved the chickens yet. Maybe, hopefully, we will be able to do that this afternoon. So we are going to plant, like I said, the first round of plants up here at the new chicken coop. You can see that it is all put together. It is painted and it is ready to go. Before we actually start planting, I have a very special guest joining me today, and we are going to garden together. It has been a hot minute since we have gardened together, so I'm super excited about that. You'll see her in just a minute. But let me show you kind of the plants we're going to use today, where we're going to put them, the whole idea of this planting, and then I'm going to give you an overall view idea of how I want to do these gardens. So let's start with that. Okay. So here we are on the side of the coop, right? This is the end. We actually ended up putting the human door, as they call it, on the back side corner. So that is where the human door is. I have our collection of annuals that we're going to be using today. We'll talk about that in a minute. But here we have Johnny, and we've talked about this before, where you see all the lovely red clay. Those are, some of this is going to be access roads. So we're going to put some recycled wood chips that we got when the power company came through to trim the lines. So we're going to use that in the road part. So the road part basically is here and then goes behind these trees. Now, where you see these trees, right, all the way kind of from this corner, we're going to have an island bed that comes all through here and then goes down to the far oak tree down right there. Because this area right here is an access road, and then on the back side will be an access road too. So this will be like a whole big island bed. Once we get the mulch down, it'll be much easier to see those defined spaces. But this area is going to be fun. We're going to use tons of shrubs and perennials, not really any annuals. The annuals are just going to be at the chicken coop. So this is going to be a fun place for me to plant. I have some ideas on what I want to put there, but I haven't quite narrowed that down. Then, as we come around, right, you can see this dark mulch right here. And all up in these little trees is going to be a beautiful spot to do some shade gardens. It will get some morning sun, and then it will be lots of afternoon shade, which is going to be great. So those gardens will continue through here. I want it to be very natural. Like, I want the shrubs and the perennials to come out and to be, probably will be no more than like right here, because we need to have access to the coop. So they'll come around right here, and then they're going to just naturally sweep around to the front side over here. Because basically what we're going to do is we are going to use these Nellie Stevens. I have 3 of these down here. That's going to be our highest, and then we're going to work our way from the tallest down to the shortest, and just fill in with lots of sun-loving perennials and shrubs. So it'll be really fun to have it bleed in basically from full sun here, and then it will come in to more of, part sun, and then back in the back it will be mostly shade. So we're going to have a whole little plethora of shrubs, perennials in these gardens. That'll be a lot of fun to do. So I've got Jerry over here. He is putting the windows, the panes, back on to the windows for me, because we had to take off these guys. This is, I don't know what, plexiglass maybe, because I needed to paint underneath here. So I did that last night. So you can see right here, right? So it's nice and painted. This is how the windows will be in the wintertime. So we can close them up so that there's no draft in the chicken coop. And then in the summertime, you can prop them open. It's great because when you lift them open, right up here there's little dowels, and you can see there's 3 holes, so you can choose as to how wide you want the window to be open. In the summertime, we want as much air circulation as we possibly possibly can, so we're going to leave them open. In the wintertime, we'll just close them. We don't have to worry about insulating or a heat source, because we just don't get hot enough, I mean cold enough, sorry, in the wintertime to worry about that with our chickens. So I love this because this whole thing opens up. So if you need to get access to the actual coop house part, you absolutely can. You can see we've got their roost bars up here, then coming in. So this is where their little nighttime home will be. We've got, this is actually hemp. I got it from Carolina Coops. They sell it. And so we've got 2 bags. This will be their bedding that we can keep it nice and clean in here. Then you can see a little roost bar, and then those are the 3 nesting boxes right there. Got a cute little ladder that will take them outside right there to their run. So yeah, everything is vented, so you can see up here at the top. We've got nice vent. We've got the hardware cloth up there, so it's nice and protected, so no critters can come in. This coop is extremely secure. One thing that it was an option that you could add on, we chose not to add it on just because it's super simple for us to do ourselves. It's what you call a predator guard. And the predator guard is essentially, we use chicken wire, and so this is your traditional chicken wire that you can get, at any farm supply, and we doubled it up. So it is basically 3 feet, 2.5, 3 feet wide out of here, because raccoons, possums, foxes, wild dogs, right? They can try to come in and bury and get in the coop this way, so they'll dig so that they can go under. When you put the chicken wire here, predator guard, they can't get through. They cannot tear through and get through this space. So Jerry and Andrew, when they put it in, they left this area exposed for me because this is what we're going to plant our annuals in today. But it goes all the way around the coop, and in fact it extends on the corners. It overlaps and extends 3 feet out. So this whole area is completely protected, and then they just put the mulch back on top of it, right? You can't even see that it's there, but trust me, it is there. So we are going to plant this area, and look, here's my special guest. People of a long time know who this sweet thing is. It is Christine. I don't have her mic'd up yet, so she'll talk here in just a second. But we are going to plant these gorgeous annuals. I went and raided the greenhouse of plants that I have not hadn't planted yet. These are ones that we have used in various other projects. So I was like, we're gonna finish up these guys. So we have just a fun selection. I'll show you everybody, but we have Senorita Rosalita Cleome. We have Rockin' Deep Purple Salvia, the Skyrocket Grass. I had 2 little Wicked Witches left, so we're gonna throw those in somewhere. The Luscious Lemon Tart, if that's correct. I always get the name mixed up on that one. That one, some nice Sun Patience, and then the Bewitched Green within the Sweet Potato Vine. What we're going to do is we are going to take all of this beautiful black gold raised bed mix, and we are going to build up this area on top of the chicken wire, because obviously it'd be really hard to plant perennials and shrubs right there. So we're going to build it up with the raised bed mix, and that way we can plant our annuals directly in there. So once Jerry finishes putting my window panes back on, we're going to get all this set up, and we are going to start planting. All right, my friends, so we are, before we're going to start planting, our sweet Christine is with us again. So if you are relatively new to gardening with Creekside, then
hold on, she's stuck.
Brenna put herself in the chicken coop, and so then the wing closed. Yeah, so she was stuck inside, even though she was only 2 feet away from me. She was pinned up. So anyway, okay. So Christine has been a staple in gardening with Creekside and Creekside Nursery for, what was it, 3 years? 3 years, I think. And about a year ago, she stepped away from Creekside to do a fun venture with her family and just wonderful things. So she's going to tell us about that. So if you're new, you're probably like, who is this woman? Who is this chick? Well, this is Christine, and she is a dear friend. And so she has come back agreed to come back for today and garden with me with the chicken coop because she has lots of experience with chickens.
Yeah. I blame Jenny. Listen, this is the gateway to animal for farming.
So she was with us when she came. We already had our first set of chickens, and so I was her gateway drug into, and then she just took it and ran with it to a whole nother level with the animals. So you stepped away from Creekside for a little over a year now, and you have started this wonderful venture, Cabin Creek Homestead.
Yeah.
So, and we're going to link all of her socials, and then Christine's also going to do a companion video to this video. So we'll link all of that, so you'll have to head over to her channel and watch whatever it is that she comes up with here. So Cabin Creek. So give us an overview of what it is. What is Cabin Creek? What do you do? Like all that it entails.
Okay. I'll try to make it like succinct.
The Reader's Digest version?
The Reader's Digest. If you happen to catch an interview with me, gosh, this was years ago now, I kind of talked about how Creekside began as this healing journey for me. I have had autoimmune issues and a lot of problems getting diagnosed, and some treatment options and medicines weren't working. When I came to work here, just getting me active and getting me out, I really saw a huge change, not only in my physical health, but my spiritual and my mental health as well. And there came a point where I sat with a neurologist, and he held my hand and he said, I know you want a diagnosis today because treatment would be nice, but unfortunately you're on paper, you're fine. And I was devastated because that sounds like good news, but it's not. If you have chronic health issues, you know
right,
it's
you
not.
want an answer.
So later on, my husband took me out to eat. That poor waiter. I need to find him and be like, I promise I'm okay. Anyway, my husband sat me down and he said, I've been thinking a lot about, just your health and, what you need. I think a change of lifestyle away from a city life would be really good for you. So horses have always been part of my story. And gardening obviously was a huge part of just bringing back the old Christine before I got really sick. And so he said, I've been looking for property and I think I found 10 acres anyway. So he went on this journey to find a homestead for us. It already had a house, it had a barn. And so we began with chickens and ducks, and I bought my first horse. Actually I bought the horse before we actually moved in.
Yeah, she already had the animals before she was moved in. I was like, oh, Christine, this is not going to be good.
Yeah. I have zero impulse control. It's the ADHD. I could blame it on a number of things. I just impulse. Anyway, so we moved onto the farm, and I, immediately fell in love with. I had a big Belgian draft horse and a donkey, and we had chickens and ducks. And then as time went on, I realized just what a beautiful thing it was for me to be out there. And we had some people kind of take notice of our YouTube channel and say, hey, I have some horses that they need a home, or we have these pigs, can you come and rescue them? And so we began adding animals, some that we really wanted, some that I didn't really want. Those pigs have got to go. I'm sorry. They are so cute, but they
yeah.
Anyway.
You're talking to a former pig farmer daughter. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Pigs. I know.
And they're not even the kind you can eat.
You can't even name them ham and bacon because there's just
bacon. Anyway, I remember just as a child what it meant to me to constantly be around horses. And if you haven't watched that video, I was in foster care till I was 10.
We'll link that video so you can go check out that. It was a fun conversation we had.
It was. And so I just wanted to make that available to the community. I saw what a difference it was making to me. So we began a nonprofit, a horse rescue and an equine therapy center. So we have girls that come out that are just maybe in transition. Maybe they're in foster care or they're in a new placement. Or perhaps they are going through some trouble at school, or perhaps have been the victim of assault in some way. So we have some services available to the community with our horses, with our mini horses, our donkeys. People love the goats. I'm not a fan at all, but I have kept them for this long because especially Scott loves the goats. And I'm like, fine, you milk the ornery beasts. But it has just been a beautiful a beautiful time. The Lord placed us here, and we weren't certain, why. We had lived overseas. We came back home. But for such a time as this, there had been lives changed. Mine most of all, just by God using me and using my story and these beautiful animals. And so it all started, I think, at Creekside, just because I was outdoors so much.
Yes.
And flowers are they are healing. God knew what he was doing.
Yes, absolutely. So it is a fantastic story, and it is fun to watch Christine and all the shenanigans, because you get yourself into some pickles.
I do. You would think at 37, almost 38 years old that I would have my life together, but nope.
None of us do. All right, so it is a lot of fun. So thank you for coming.
This is a joy.
It is so much fun. It feels good to be back, because we would get into some shenanigans here at the nursery as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up the camera. Jerry is here filming with us, and so we're going to get all of this black gold raised bed mix laid out first, and we're going to lay down the plants. We're going to figure out exactly our design, and then we'll meet you back here, talk about the design, and then go ahead and get these sweet things in the ground.
Let's do it. Let's get dirty.
Let's get dirty. All right, my friends, so Christine and I got the plants laid out, and ta-da! So this is one of the things that we love about Christine, is that she didn't tell you that she is also a fantastic artist. And so she taught me so much about color and texture and height, and like how to, like you really did. Like I see plants in a whole different light because
she's gonna act like she was not a professional before this, please.
Oh yeah, I was not. And so it came out great. And so and another thing about like gardening with someone else, another friend, is that because we're two different people, we see things differently.
Yeah.
So basically, because I was telling Christine, is I don't want anything super tall in front of the coop because I want to see the coop, right? But we still want color and texture, and to attract some fun little critters, like flying things that the chickens may or may not, enjoy a little snack on.
Enrichment time.
It definitely will keep them entertained. And I've learned also from experience that I don't want anything vining, trailing to go up the coop. I've done that before, and while it can look pretty in the season, the cleanup afterwards is a nightmare.
Unless you're in a very tropical zone and you're like Mandevilla, just blooms all year round. No.
Yeah, because once it dies, trying to get those vines out.
Untangled.
Yeah, it's just,
Don't do it.
It's a nightmare. And I mean, the coop wasn't cheap, and I don't want to
You can end
mess
up
it
ripping
up.
your whole panel or your hardware
Yes.
cloth off. So
Yeah, we're not doing that. So that's why we went with the annuals in here. So we've got 3 of the Senorita Rosalitas. That's going to be our tallest. So they're spaced evenly through there. Then the Rockin' Deep Purple, which I love because since they improved it, it's not so wild and woolly.
Right.
And then that will definitely attract the hummingbirds, all of the pollinators. So that will be great. And then I did have it all the way down, but we had those 2 Wicked Witches, and Christine was like, well, let's take out the 2 and put in the Wicked Witch.
Right. So there's not, monotony is a beautiful thing. I love berms and hedges of one solid, what do you call it, a
Monoculture.
monoculture.
Yes.
But I think this added so much depth of texture and color.
Yes. And then we don't have anything that really dark, rich, burgundy black. So that will be really pretty up against the white coop. And then, like Christine said, we put the Bewitched Green with Envy sweet potato vine in front of that, so it will really, the color contrast will play off of each other really well.
Special.
And then with the lantana, we did the 2 corners, 3 plants on each corner with 2 sweet potato vines. They're kind of intermingling all together. And then we brought another set of 3 lantana kind of in the dead center in front of one of the cleomes. And then the grasses down through, all throughout there. I had only pulled 5, and Christine was like, it's not balanced. We got to have the other one, which it was totally correct. So we have got them all placed, and the beautiful thing is that because we used all of that raised bed mix, all we have to do is just pull the soil back and plop those plants in there. If we run into some root-bound plants, because pot-bound plants we may, because this is middle of June and these plants have been growing since February in their containers. Yeah, so they're ready to get out. You can definitely tell on some of them, especially like the cleome, they're not living their best life right now, but as soon as we get them in the ground, they're gonna like perk up. So we're gonna do that. We did prep the soil as far as we threw down some biotone because it is later on in the season. This will not be on irrigation. I'll have to hand water it. So we threw that in for some healthy root growth, and then of course the Proven Winners continuous plant food, so that will help feed them even more. And then the raised bed mix has great nutrients in that as well. So these plants are gonna be really happy.
I think so.
Really happy. All right, so we're gonna get these in the ground. Today's project is complete. Do you love it?
I love it. I don't know if I love how fast and easy it was or like what it actually looks like. It's a toss up between the 2.
It came out fantastic.
It did. It's really special.
Something we didn't talk about, which I had in my brain, but I forgot to translate that over to the camera, is on the end of the coop, we did another little planting. I had started the Mexican sunflowers. I'm not sure what the technical term for that is, but they're the big, beautiful, like really vibrant orange flowers.
It's a branching
Yes,
sunflower, but they're petite.
they are, and they're almost silky.
They are. They
Yeah.
are.
But
Oh,
they
they're
are
so
a
colorful.
massive,
Prolific.
yes, prolific bloomer, complete like repeat bloomer. The butterflies like cover them, pollinators, and so they get to be a good size. I mean, they'll get
They're so tiny right now.
Yeah, they are. They're little itty bitties. So that section over there looks a little bare, but just envision, because if you've done Mexican sunflowers before, I mean, they will get, what, like 4 feet tall, 4 feet wide. They will get huge.
You got to leave room for the Holy Spirit.
You do. In fact, I was a little leery even planting 2, but we just went with it. And then we put 2 more of the rockin' salvias on each of the corner and just kind of tie that in. So we'll have 2 sides of the coop planted, and then really the other 2 sides, at least for sure, will stay empty. Don't see those being planted. If it's ever planted, it would be the other side, but I don't know. But we're happy with what we did today.
Right.
Yes. So, thank you for coming and gardening with me.
This is long overdue. I have missed this so much.
Fantastic. So, I will have in the video description the link to Christine's video that's going to be on her channel. So, once you finish watching this, go over and head over to her channel, watch whatever it is that we get ourselves into, because
who knows?
Who knows? We have no clue where that's going to go. But as always, we hope you have found this fun, informative, and inspirational. Y'all have a fantastic day. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks for gardening with Creekside.
Bye.